Good morning. What a wonderful room full of soulful women and men. Good to be here. I am so happy to be here at this World Parliament of World Religions because of its special focus on the dignity and human rights of women. And I do want to thank the Reverend Phyllis Curott and the Women's Task Force, including Miriam Caseda and the SHEROES. They have done so much for women at this Parliament and beyond. Great, great gratitude. And I also want to thank the artist and wise elder, Lydia Rule, who brought her banners of the goddesses. Yeah, they're over. If you haven't seen them, they're over there in the corridor or colonnade of the ballrooms, and they are these goddess energies and powers that are goddesses from all around the world. They're so beautiful, and amazing. I hope you'll get the chance to go see them. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you, Lydia. I have faith in women, women of spirit, spirited women, women who believe that love is the core of life, women who believe that caring for others is a spiritual calling, women who feed the hungry and nurse the sick and tend the dying, and who nurture creativity in others and in themselves, and who live in harmony with Mother Earth and her creatures and the environment, like women have been doing for millennia. I have faith in women and our labors of love. Thank you. I speak to you as a goddess devotee and a spiritual feminist. And I want to, and so I work and pray for the growing equality of women and men, with women and men of faith in the religions of the world. And I want to ask the God peoples to speak more often with the goddess peoples. I want the goddess and I want the God and goddess peoples and the goddess and God peoples and the non-theistic peoples to begin to converse and dialogue and talk about the impact of what the perceived gender or genders of divinity have on all of our lives. And I hope that these conversations will continue and blossom here at this Parliament and will be taken home to your communities and also into your families. We need to have this conversation. Many of my spiritual grandmothers and mothers and sisters and myself believe that the freedom of religion for those who worship Goddess is a social justice issue, and that women's freedom of spirit is a social justice issue. Now, many of the Goddess people work on many of the social justice issues, from regarding poverty and climate change and education for girls and women and protecting the sacred lands of indigenous peoples, accepting and affirming our LGBTQ brothers and sisters, and fighting violence against women in domestic violence and in rape and sex trafficking and the so-called honor killings of the murders of women because of some false notion of masculine pride. We fight this, and we fight against the increasing gun violence, the epidemic of gun violence that has to stop. We fight against the police brutality that we find in this country, because Black lives matter, all lives matter, all Black lives matter. We are treating diseases. We're working to bring the conditions of peace forward so that war can end. And so we share these social justice work with all of you, and we ask that you share the social justice of the right for women and men to worship the goddess freely and openly in our societies and here in the United States without fear and without persecution. Thank you. The Declaration of the Dignity and Human Rights of Women urges us to affirm, quote, as the elders have advised, the justification and discrimination against women and girls on grounds of religion or tradition as if it were authorized by a higher authority is not acceptable. I believe this. And I also believe this wisdom applies to our imaging and naming of divinity, that the discrimination against goddess, as if it were prescribed by a higher authority, is not acceptable. I wish many of you could say that with me, and maybe all of you could say that with me, that discrimination against the goddess as if it were authorized by a higher power is not acceptable. Acceptable. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, beyond this, I believe that the ultimate source of all life is a great mystery, and that it is ineffable and beyond naming, and that no one in no single religion can possess or own the mysteries, including the most profound and intimate of human mysteries: birth, sexual union, death, and rebirth. These belong to all of us in our own freedom, in our own ways, as women. These are our mysteries. They belong to us and everyone. No one else owns them. Now, I invoke the continuing blessings of the great mystery for us, and I also want to invoke Goddess and God for us here at the Parliament, that they will bless us in our work for social justice, for peace in the world, for protection of the environment, and also for gender equity and gender justice. Blessed be, and I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. For our work with disability and all other aspects of society that keep us from fulfilling our blessed gifts and talents that we have to share with the rest of the world. Thank you for that. So for disability justice as well. And thank you. Blessed be, and amen.